Any of y'all that don't like pizza, just y'all put it over there to the side and I'll get it later. Thank you. I'm Kevin Rowe. I've got a band, Kevin Rowe and the Prodigal Sons. We travel around all over the United States doing an alternative type Christian country and country gospel. So I hope y'all enjoy this, okay? Y'all ready to have some fun?
Yes.
Been an outlaw all my life. It's the way that I was raised. Everybody had to have a hero. Well, mine was Jesse James. I was a dirty dog, no count, low down loser, about as worthless as a man could be. Until I gave my life to the man who died that day on Calvary. Now I'm wanted for the way that I live my life. Yes, I'm wanted. It's my God-given right. Yes, I'm wanted. Woo! He took the chains and set me free. Now I'm wanted. My God never gave up on me. Now I'm wanted. But not dead or alive, 'cause I'm wanted. Well, on the other side. Now all my sins forgotten, the slate has been wiped clean. I traded my gun for a sword. Today I read John 3:16. Hey! I'm a scripture quoting, Jesus freak, Bible thumping, holy road, Jesus loving son of a gun. Well, I ride for the brand, for the Prince of Peace, for the one and only Son. And now I'm wanted for the way that I live my life. Yes, I'm wanted. It's my God-given right. Yes, I'm wanted. He took the chains and set me free. Now I'm wanted. My God never gave up on me. Now I'm wanted. But not dead or alive, 'cause I'm wanted. Well, on the other side.
Maybe some of you don't know me, but I'm Brandon Dunn. I belong to that little girl right there. I'm here today, and you know, I'm not here to preach to you. I'm not here to condemn, to condone, to do anything. I just want to speak life with you guys. You know, I know college life. I'm 42 years old, and to you, that's probably ancient. But I can remember my days back in college, and I can just remember just life in general. And you know, there's things that we use to validate ourselves. Some of you are, people ask you, what do you do in college? Well, maybe some of you are on the rodeo team, some of you play volleyball, some of you are baseball, some of you are majoring in this or that, and we introduce ourselves. I know in the rodeo circuit, where I grew up and very familiar with, we always identify each other by the buckles that we wear. What kind of a champion are you? The buckles does not define us. The things that we do in the arena, that's not who we are. But we use those things to validate ourselves. We use the things that we do in the classroom. We use the things we do in the arena, in whatever sport or event that you may participate in. We use those things to validate ourselves, and that's not who we are. It's what we do, and it's an offset of the characteristics and the things that we like. But you know, those things in the arena, buckles can tarnish. Awards, you win today, but you may lose tomorrow. You know, there's Donnie Gay. I don't know if you know Donnie Gay, but he was kind of at the end of my era, but he was one of the guys that helped me get started in the PRCA as a bullfighter to sign for my card. But Donnie Gay was an 8-time world champion bull rider. He wasn't a 9-time. He wasn't a 10-time. He wasn't 11-time. Maybe you guys there would be more like a Trevor Brazil and all the world championships that he's won. But you're only as good as the last world championship that you won. You're only as good as your last accolade. And so many times we lose ourselves of who we are in the moment because we try to validate ourselves according to other people's standards. And that's what I want to talk to you about a little bit today is, who are you? Do we even know who we are? I know from a gospel perspective, you'll never really know who you are until you know who you are in Jesus Christ. For many years, I grew up in a Christian home, but for many years, my whole world, my God, was rodeo. Everything that I did revolved around rodeo. Even from the time when Laramie was just, she was still in diapers. Man, a rodeo would call me and I would be gone and I would neglect my family because that rodeo is who I was. And in 2003, God showed me that there was a whole lot more to Brandon Dunn than just rodeo. In 2003, I didn't expect to go here, but here we go. In 2003, we were coming home. I have an uncle that was that fought bulls professionally. He's in the PRCA Hall of Fame. A lot of people validated me because I was Rex Dunn's nephew. And Rex, like I say, he was the NFR bullfighter, had several accolades to his name, but my validation come from being Rex's nephew. I got into the ministry, going around at these rodeos and PBRs, and I was still fighting bulls, and I was on fire for God, and I was ministering to people, but my validation still come from what I could do inside that rodeo arena. And in 2003, we had coming back from visiting my uncle, who a fighting bullet got him down and left him basically for dead. We were coming home and a drunk driver hit us, and it killed our oldest daughter, Laramie's sister, and it put us all in different hospitals, and basically it left me flat on my back, and I'm sitting there scratching my head wondering who I am, because now my rodeo career is gone. I can no longer fight bulls. I'm in a wheelchair for a year. I'm trying to get all this stuff put back into perspective. What am I going to do with my life now? What am I going to do with my life? Because my life for so many years was wrapped around the validation of the buckles that I wore, or the rodeos that I would go to, or the people that I would meet along the way. And I always pushed Jesus Christ. I always thought I fell kind of under the flag of Jesus Christ. But until God took everything else away from me, I never really knew who I was. And so, when you're going through these times right now, I know we don't have a lot of time to talk about this, but when you're going through these times of what I like to call growing pains, there's going to be things you're going to be put up on a mountaintop. You're going to have championships. You're going to have good grades. You're going to make the dean's list. You're going to have all these wonderful things that's going to happen to you. But also in the course of your life, you're going to have the rug jerked out from underneath you. And unless you know who you are in Christ Jesus and who He is to you, you have two choices. You can either live in pain, and I lived in that pain for 11 and a half years. I lived in the pain of denial because not knowing who I was, and that I was the victim mentality, had the victim mentality instead of the victorious mentality. That God was just trying to show me, who I am in Him. That I don't need to have all these things and all these accolades because there's something that's so much bigger and brighter inside of me, and the same thing is bigger and brighter inside of you. In Jeremiah it says this, it says, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. I knew you. And God wants to validate you so much. God wants to show you His love for you, and sometimes He shows us in our love. As a father, I'll pick on Brindle, but as a father, every now and then, you have to put the belt to the butt. Amen. And sometimes we feel like that God is just, when we're under the fire and we feel like that God, is God loving us? Is God showing us? Well, why is He so against me? And God's validating you through those very times. God is validating you and showing you that He does love you, and He allows these things. He doesn't cause these things, but He allows these things to happen in your life. And some of it's very relative. It may be the loss of a child. It may just be the loss of a world championship somewhere. It may be the loss of a boyfriend or a girlfriend. It's all very relative, but God uses the circumstances in our lives. And He's always there to say, hey, I am still here. And He says, before you were formed in your mother's womb, I knew you. I knew the thing that's going to take place in your life. I know the friends that's going to come into your life, and I know the ones that's going to come out of your life. I know the heartaches in which you're going to face. I know the things in which you're just going to rejoice about, and you're going to think that you're going to never see a poor day, and you couldn't imagine how life could possibly get any better. He says, I knew these things were going to happen to you, and I am in the midst of that, if you would just let me be there to validate you through all these times, through the good times and through the bad times. But it's so easy. It's so easy for us to look around, and we compare ourselves. We compare ourselves to our neighbor sitting there. We compare ourselves to our roommate, to our suite mate, to our classmates, to people that we see on TV. Many of you guys on the rodeo team, you watched the American last night, and a young college girl, sitting there and got her a third of $1 million, and you just look at that and you idolize those things, and we try to say, man, I wished I was that good. I wished I was that good. Well, let me tell you something. You are. You are that good. Don't let the money validate you. Don't let the buckles validate you. Don't let the dreams validate you. Allow God to validate you, because who He says you are in Him. You realize that you, as men and young women, in the discipleship and the relationship with Jesus Christ, you realize that you are princes and princesses. Amen. That you are a child of the King. You don't have to worry about the gold buckle. Let me tell you about my daddy. I grew up in a ranching background, but let me tell you about my Heavenly Father. My Heavenly Father owns the cattle on 1,000 hills, but He owns those hills too. I don't have to try to strive and achieve for any kind of other validation in knowing who my daddy is. That even in the midst of being rock bottom, falling flat on my face, that my daddy is still there. My daddy validates me. The world's going to kick you when you're down. The world's going to tell you ain't good enough. You're never going to win that world championship. Hagen, you need to cut your rope off because you suck. Things are just terrible. You need to turn those barrel horses out. You're never going to ride another bull. You're never going to hit another baseball. You're never going to be able to be a volleyball or whatever it is in life, that whatever you're looking for in life, you're never going to be able to do it. And God says there's so much more to that, and you can do all things through Christ who gives you strength. Now that's not some name it and claim it stuff. Some of you in here will go on to be world champions, and some of you, this may be the very last of your whatever career that you're in right now. Rodeo career, volleyball career, baseball career, whatever it is. This may be the last of your collegiate career. It may end this year. Doesn't mean that your life ends. Do not let that validate you, because Jesus said you can do all things through me who gives you strength. Through the losses, through the triumphs, through the victories, and through the wins. Sound like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. There's times that you're going to be going through the fire, but God promises that He will walk with you through that fire. He says, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will feel no evil, for you are with me, because He's the one that validates us. He's the one that validates us. We'll have a word of prayer, and then Kevin will let you finish up.
Being here and listening, you'll give a big hand to Brandon Dunn. Amen. I'm going to sing a little song to take y'all out of here, something to keep on your mind all day long, right? I'm a cleaning house. I'm a cleaning house. See, Satan, you can't live here anymore. So pack up all your sins. Don't you ever come back again. I gave your dwelling place to the Lord. As for now, I want you out. See, you can't hang around here anymore. Since I let Jesus in, you can't ever come back again. I'm gonna